What if the answer to some of our biggest health fears wasn't some brand new high-tech drug, but something that's been hiding in plain sight all along? Well, we're about to dive into a book that makes that exact claim. It takes a really critical and pretty provocative look at the whole system of modern medicine. So yeah, let's get right into it.
Okay, so here's how we're going to walk through this. We're going to follow the author's argument step by step. We'll start with what he calls a shocking diagnosis of the problem. Then we'll get into his controversial take on the medical system itself, check out his alternative philosophy for healing, and then finally, we'll look at the ancient remedies he says hold the key.
So, the author kicks his whole argument off with one single pretty stark observation: the idea that we've all become way too comfortable with just how big the cancer crisis actually is.
He starts with this number, 9.7 million, and according to him, this isn't just another statistic. He pulls it straight from the World Health Organization. It's the number of people who die from cancer every single year. He argues that this is a global catastrophe that we've somehow let just become background noise.
And this is where he really drives his point home, with the quote, "Numbers do not lie, people do." His belief is pretty clear, that the real weight of this crisis is being intentionally downplayed, and because of that, this massive scale of death has become normalized.
And all of this leads to the central question that he says has been bugging him for over 2 decades. I mean, think about it. We have all this incredible technology, right? We have AI, we're traveling to space. So why on earth does a cure for cancer still feel so far away?
So what does the author think is the real problem here? Well, he starts by giving the conventional medical approach a name, and it's a name that's definitely designed to get your attention. He calls it the PRS system, and it's an acronym that's meant to be pretty jarring. P is for poison, which is his word for chemotherapy. R is for radiation, and S is for slice, meaning surgery. This is his label for the standard treatments that he's about to pick apart in his book.
To explain his case against chemotherapy, the author uses this really powerful analogy. He says, look, it's not like you're just pulling a weed. He argues it's like setting fire to the whole garden. You're destroying everything, the healthy cells, the body's own defenses, right along with the cancer. So why the focus on these aggressive treatments? Well, the author traces it all the way back to medical school itself. He claims that doctors get this, as little as 3 days of nutrition training in 7 years. And he argues this creates a system that's amazing at treating symptoms, but it completely overlooks the body's fundamental health.
Okay, and this leads us to what is probably the author's most controversial claim, that the modern medical system wasn't even designed for our health in the first place. He says it was engineered for profit, right from the very beginning.
So the story he tells goes something like this. Before the 1900s, medicine was mostly natural, plant-based, but that all changed in the early 20th century. He claims that figures like John D. Rockefeller figured out that petroleum waste could be turned into synthetic drugs. And here's the key difference. You can patent a synthetic drug, but you can't patent a plant. The author argues that this one fact created a whole new for-profit model that just pushed natural medicine right out of the picture.
So as a direct counterpoint to what he calls the PRS system, the author presents his alternative philosophy, and he calls this one the God system.
The entire idea behind this system is the belief that our bodies are designed to heal themselves. Think about a broken bone. The cast doesn't actually heal the bone, right? It just holds it in place so the body can do the real work. In this view, your immune system, that's the real doctor.
And when you see the two systems laid out side by side like this, you can really see the difference he's talking about. He frames the PRS system as this complicated, fear-based business model that just attacks symptoms. The God system, on the other hand, is presented as a simple, empowering healing model that's all about creating a clean internal environment so the body can do its thing.
All right, so if that's the problem, and that's the philosophy, what's the actual solution? This is where the author gets into a collection of natural protocols that he claims have been basically suppressed or just forgotten. He calls them the Secret 19.
And his whole approach here really boils down to this one simple quote we've all heard: prevention is better than cure. He basically argues that it's way more effective to keep a body healthy from the start than to try and fix it after disease shows up. It's like fireproofing your house instead of waiting to fight a fire.
And here are just a few examples from that list of Secret 19 protocols he talks about in the book. You see things like the Budwig diet, dandelion root, Asiac tea. He's compiled all of these from historical records and anecdotal stories, presenting them as natural things people have used for healing for a very long time.
Now, this is a really, really important point that the author makes. He's very clear that he is not presenting these as magic cures. No. Instead, he frames them as tools. Tools to help support the body's internal environment, what he calls the terrain, to make the conditions right for your own immune system to do its job.
The book leaves us with this final, very provocative thought, which he paraphrases from Voltaire. It's really a challenge, right? A challenge to ask ourselves who really holds the power over our health, and to think about what topics or what systems have become almost impossible to criticize.